guys, I just wanted to hop on really quick because we had a really great call with, sorry, that's my dog bumping the table that my phone's hooked to. So we had a really great call a little while ago with Steve Harney of Keeping Current Matters. And it's just really a great opportunity to have somebody like that who's such an expert in the industry and what's going on and watching the trends and why the market tanks when it does versus why it's steady when it does, and being able to provide us with information from his perspective of what he thinks is going to happen as a result of everything going on right now. So I don't want to take responsibility per se for it because everything's an opinion, right? And all I can do is provide and transfer information to you that I'm being given. My goodness, sorry. All I can do is provide you with the information that I'm being given to give you the best possible resources. What I will say is, in my personal opinion, I absolutely trust that what he's saying is going to be the actual outcome. And the reality is we'll only know on the other side of this exactly what's going to happen. And so actually a second resource that I tend to watch and love and learn from continue to expand on this same exact concept. And so what they're expecting of what's going on right now is that it's going to be a lot more like 2001 versus 2008. And so I do know that, like I said, everyone's really concerned about property values and what's happening. And the reality is right now we're kind of at a standstill, right? There are still properties that are available for you to see if you're in need of purchasing. And there are agents that will still gladly take you out. I'm one of them. If you're in an urgent situation where you absolutely have to move, I will absolutely go out with you and help you take care of that. On the flip side, what we're not doing right now is taking out people who need to move in 6 months because it just doesn't make sense. Number one, the inventory is not going to be the same anyway. Number two, it's just too risky for everybody involved. And we need to try to slow this down regardless of what your beliefs are around it so that we can try to all get back to normal life as soon as possible. But one of the things from Larry Kendall of Ninja, he actually teaches, he has his own brokerage and he teaches the training program that we use, was that basically just because we're kind of at a, not even a halt, but like for what real estate should be at this time of year, if it were any other year, we're down. I mean, things aren't moving the way they normally do, and it makes sense. People are, number one, staying in and not going out into public, and then you also have people who might be a little bit concerned about what's happening in our property values changing. And so because of that, what we're expecting is on the other side of this, when we are, no longer in shelter in place and we're actually able to go out and be with one another again in a way that's safe for everybody, that all the transactions that aren't happening now are going to still happen this year. And so the expectation is what we normally do in 12 months, we will do in the 9 months where we are actively doing business. And so that's super cool. The prediction, so to speak, about like what's happening with the market, is it going to affect home values? How much is it going to affect home values? All of that is actually, he backed it up with data, and I do not have the images. I wish I did to share, but he actually shared like these charts and these measurements of like what home equity was 3 years before 2008 and what home equity has been now. So like not just the equity that they currently have in the home, but the home equity loans they're taking out. And the way he explained it is how like people in 2008 were in a different financial perspective. And obviously having that happen changed us as people and the kind of financial decisions that we make. And so people were taking, lines of credit and home equity out to buy jet skis and things like that maybe aren't what home equity is for. And essentially using their home as an ATM, meaning their equity was reduced. So the second that they hit a point where they were struggling, they had no equity in the home anyway, and it was so easier to walk away from. So when home values dropped, they now have negative equity, and now they're struggling to pay their mortgage. They really didn't have anything to lose when it got foreclosed. I mean, it was still hard, yes, and it was still losing their home in the emotional aspect, but financially, they were walking away from negative equity anyway, which is just a different scenario. And so now people have a higher percentage of equity in their homes. The amount of second mortgages and things are much lower than they've ever been, or not ever, but lower than they were back then in comparison. And people actually have something to lose. So if a home value is to go down and it reduces by, say, $50,000, but you still have $100,000 in equity in your home, even if you're struggling, the odds of you letting that fall apart, my dog is acting crazy. Sorry, we've been pent up for too long, just like you. But so the odds of you walking away from something or allowing yourself to lose something that you still have $100,000 in equity in is not very high. And it's a completely different circumstance than what we were up against back then. And therefore, that is a large part of why the expectation and the prediction is that we're essentially going to go back to business as normal. We can't say that home values aren't going to be impacted. We can't say that there aren't people who are going to maybe not be able to buy as much as they were planning on because of changes with income because of this. But I do think that there's solutions for most things, if not everything. And we definitely do not expect this to be anything like 2008. And again, like I wouldn't be sharing this opinion with you if I didn't actually see value in like evidence to back up why this actually makes sense. So take a deep breath, guys. Any information I get about like the market or what's going on and what we're allowed to do, I will absolutely share with you to the best of my ability all the time. And I hope you guys are all staying safe, happy, and healthy. Bye.